Surprise, surprise, mother. This is a dude you're fighting, men turning into women and vice versa. It's hard to really decipher what's going on. Wouldn't it be beneficial to just have a transgender league where she was being surprised by the fact that, holy this is a guy on top of me, so that wasn't cool. USA Boxing is under some serious heat after a new policy gets passed that would allow biological men to effectively box against women. Now, all the videos I've seen about this have been based purely on emotion. This is wrong, this is right, on both sides of the spectrum. I wanted to attack this on more of an unbiased, scientific level. But before we get into that, let's take a look at this video of True Geordie breaking down his opinion on what's going on.
I've got no problem in talking to someone who's transgender and addressing them however they want me to say that what they are. But I've definitely got a problem with people potentially killing people by having a ridiculous unfair advantage on the opponent. I don't care what the scenario is. That's whether you're cheating through drugs going into a boxing fight, whether you have had 20 years of added testosterone, whether you're using things in your gloves. I don't care what it is. This is not fair, and that's the point here. So in theory, Mike Tyson could get the surgery, wait 2 years, prove his testosterone levels are lower, jump in the ring and beat the out of all of these women. One thing I'm confused about is, are these women allowed to refuse? Are they allowed to even know that the person's transgender? Would they be even told? Is that discriminatory that you even bring that up? How deep is this going to go? You could potentially go in there and get knocked the out and only find out later on that the person that you were competing against was originally a biological male. It doesn't matter that you nearly died or whatever happened, because we can't upset people. But obviously I've got no problem with transgender boxers. I just think that the safest way to do this is to have them build their own division in their own league so that they can then fairly compete against each other, and then no one's at a major disadvantage or at a dangerous disadvantage.
I think True Geordie makes some great points, things that I'm personally concerned about. If you guys follow me, you know that I did a transgender type video, but related to jiu-jitsu. One of the things that really grind my gears, and most of the viewers that commented on the video, was the fact that the women were not being told that they were competing against biological males. And that was a big conundrum. We can almost make the argument that, well, the woman knows that she's competing against a former man, so there's a little bit of leeway there, but in this case, it was completely the opposite, where she was being surprised by the fact that, holy this is a guy on top of me, so that wasn't cool. Organizations like the NAGA or NAGA has done a great job at reversing some of those policies, so good on them. The question is, will USA Boxing be doing the same thing? Surprise, surprise, mother. This is a dude you're fighting, and I think that throws people for a loop a little bit. So Geordie also makes a great point when he says, wouldn't it be beneficial to just have a transgender league where a transgender female competes against a transgender female, etc.? Who's actually backing these policies in USA Boxing? Where's the money being laid out? Because that's going to tell you the story about why these policies are even being passed. There's definitely an agenda, because we see it across the board. Most people are going to argue that that's exclusive, like by not allowing a transgender individual to compete against a biological woman is in some way exclusive. You're excluding them from the process, but I think it's quite the opposite. I think when you allow a biological male to fight a biological woman, you're effectively excluding the woman. And I'm going to get into the science behind why that's the case shortly, but I wanted to get into Claressa Shields' opinion on this. We all know that she's an authority in boxing. She considers herself the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time, but she truly is a phenomenal boxer. I wanted to get her opinion on it, and I know a lot of you guys dislike her, judging on the comments on my last video I did on Claressa Shields, but let's hear what she has to say about it.
We found out today that USA Boxing is letting men fight women and women fight men, transgender. What are your thoughts on that as a woman, female champion of the world?
Me personally, they're gonna get messed up. Like the transgenders. Boxing is boxing. You know, I don't really care about the whole man versus women thing. But you have to know how to box. Is it unfair? Yes, because men are born men, they got bigger muscles and necks and all the other type of stuff. But I still believe that some girls will be able to beat them. But I think it's still just a dumb rule, though. I think that, and don't cancel me because you can't. But here you go with it.
Tell them, boy.
Transgender should fight against transgender. Rather it's a man turn to a woman or a woman turn into a man. They should all get in a league of their own and fight against each other, not against men and women. Does that make sense?
I know it can be confusing, Claressa, because men turning into women and vice versa, it's hard to really decipher what's going on. So I just want to lay out a quick caveat. If you haven't watched my video about her, check that out after this video. But she personally believes she can beat fighters like Keith Thurman and many others. This is a woman that considers herself to be the best, period, across genders even. So she's not the best person to ask. But even her, she's saying that there should be transgender leagues, specific to them, divisions, I should say, that are designed for these particular individuals so that there's not that cross-pollination, so to speak. Now, even she gestured at the fact that there are biological differences between men and women. But as I promised, I wanted to get into the science behind why this is so dangerous. In the description below, I'll be linking the actual study if you guys want to read it for yourself. This is on the NCBI website. It's a government-backed scientific study website. You can check it out. So, testosterone drives anatomical and physiological sex differences in the human body. Permanent sex differences that affect athletic performance involve the brain, skeletal structure, and cardiorespiratory system. Now, this is the part of the study that's indisputable. Let's check it out. Irreversible changes to male physiology shows the irreversible changes of testosterone conditioning throughout life. Testosterone masculinizes the brain in utero and during early life. Testosterone drives anatomical structure design specific to the male skeleton. Testosterone drives muscle mass, muscle fiber type, and muscle memory. Most of the effects driven by testosterone cannot be reversed with estroidal or cross-hormone therapy. That's it. What we don't take into account when we get politically correct and we don't want to offend anyone is that there are biological realities that are present prenatal, that are present throughout the process of a man's life. So even if I get a sex change at 18 years old, which is still really young, I had 18 years of testosterone, the benefits of having brain development, skeletal development. Look at the size of my head, guys. All jokes aside, this is a melon, guys. This isn't a little head. If I got on estrogen today, you think this head would change? The bone's set, my friends. What we see, even at an early age, is an increased interconnectivity in males for regions of the brain attributed to perception, action, coordination. Things like boxing, wrestling, etc. are going to benefit from that. Auditory, visual, spatial awareness, and processing. If I'm gauging distance in a ring, my ability to gauge space, anticipate a punch coming my way, that's all going to be affected by testosterone. These differences in brain structure are evident in childhood, with 8 to 13-year-olds showing behavior patterns that become further differentiated with the onset of puberty and aging into adulthood. When we talk about delivering a hard punch, we talk about the pelvis, we talk about bone structure, my ability to rotate my hips over, generating from my feet, like I said, up to my pelvis and my hips. Let's take a look at how testosterone affects bone structure. And we're not talking about you have to be on testosterone. I'm saying the benefits of development as you age with testosterone being produced in the body. You get an increase by 10% greater bone mass density and the larger and longer bones in post-pubertal males. These sex differences in bone structure provide males with increased fulcrum power, improved jumping, throwing, and other movements requiring explosive actions. You can understand why that would benefit a fighter. This is what the science is saying. I encourage you guys to go and read it yourself. The blonde bomber went in on this. She's a female fighter that some of you may know, but she goes, I don't care about political correctness. It's politically incorrect to have a man fighting a woman, and I don't care. That's exactly what it is. This society is too soft. This is our health and safety. The girls need to stick together or women's sport in 50 years will be filled with male-born champions. Michaela Meyer wrote something that I found to be pretty interesting as well. She stated that hormone therapy in general is banned in the sport of boxing. So by default, this should make trans athletes ineligible for competition, period. Damn. Doesn't matter how you feel about the situation. Fact is, it's illegal and completely disrupts the even playing field that sport works so hard to create. Damn, it's hard not to agree with her, and it's also hard not to like this video. But what I encourage you guys to do in the comments section, I know it's going to be difficult because this is polarizing content, but just to be as respectful as you possibly can. It doesn't mean that we can't disagree, but as I said before, let's bring the argument to science. Let's bring up the science. We're not talking about political correctness. We're not talking about what you want to be called, what I want to be called. We're saying this is motherfucking fighting. If this was chess, it would be completely different. This video is sponsored by my newsletter. Feel free to check it out. It's linked in the comment down below. We specialize in helping people master their disciplines, their positive habits. You can check out my community post. That's sort of a light little entrance to what we do in the newsletter. We go in depth in my mailing list. So if you're interested, check that out down below. I'm obviously on Instagram. My story posts really focus on self-development. So if you're in a position in your life where you feel that that's necessary or needed for you, I'm definitely here. Hit me up, DM, email, etc. Click the link down below. Strangle Gang, as always, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next one.